So this is Vauxhall's latest C-segment family SUV. This is the Vauxhall Frontera. It's a car that's got a keyword in mind for me from driving this around so far. It's modest. It's not trying to be too sporty. It's not trying to look too boring. It's just a family SUV that's meant to be functional, practical, and gives you exactly what you need. If you look on the front, it's a typical Vauxhall with a visor on the front. We've got the Griffin logo. There's no frunk in this one, but you get all your electricals and stuff like that underneath the bonnet. We get the LED front lights to save energy as well, and it just looks fantastic. In terms of size, this sits between the Mokka and the Vauxhall Grandland, which we reviewed on the channel already, so do check that out. But in terms of design, it's pretty much very Vauxhall. So you can see on here as well, below here, it's got a nice ground clearance. I love this red color finishing as well, with this silver sort of cladding to match up with the contrast here, which looks good, and the black finishing looks really good. We've got this little gap here, it doesn't do anything, it's just for design purposes. And then on the bonnet itself, it's got this nice scoop on there that just adds to sort of make it look modern. So I think on the front, like I said, it's very modest, very minimalist. It's just straightforward. There's not a lot going on here, but let me know what you think in the comments below. Over on the side, it looks good as well. We got minimal amount of crease on the side. We've got the cladding around the wheel arches as well, with the contrasting black color, which I think looks good. On this particular version, we have 17-inch alloys, but it depends on which trim level you go for. You got the GS and the design trim level, so pick wisely, although you can pay for some extras that will mean you get some extra subtle differences, but not a lot in my opinion. And then we look at the roof area, you get this contrast in black color as well, in this piano black finishing, is glossy, gives it a nice compact look towards the back. But surprisingly though, we still get enough headroom in the back, which I think is absolutely fantastic. And then over here we get the charging ports, and the charger here supports 100 kilowatts DC charging, so you'll be able to get to 20 to 80% in around 26 minutes. That's absolutely good. So again, when I talk about how practical this is, it's a car that's spacious, it looks good, it's got nice ground clearance, and also you got the fast charging there to charge this up very quickly. We'll talk about the range and all that kind of stuff when we get inside the car and go for a drive, but that's pretty much it on the side of the car. I think it's not bad looking at all. Let me know what you think again in the comments below. Then we move on to the back of the car. We get this nice, again, modest spoiler that we've got on the back there. We've got the LED lights. Unfortunately, the bar doesn't wrap all the way around it. I don't know if that's unfortunate or not, but I'm pretty much used to seeing that on cars these days. But they've kept it very minimal here. We've got the back window wiper, the Griffin logo on there, and the big lettering here with nice spacing between them as well, saying Frontera, which I kind of like. I like how they've done that. But yeah, it's basically nice and minimal. Again, you got the cladding here, below here where the diffuser is, and then the grey cladding here as well. If we open the boot, we see this is not electronically controlled, and this feels, don't know if you guys can hear that, it feels very, not so premium, but it is what it is. Opening the boot, we get 360 litres of boot space, but you can fold the seats. You've got 60-40 split, which gives you extra space. So altogether, if you fold it down, you're looking at 1,600 litres of boot space. And in this segment, that is a lot. It's more than enough to carry stuff, to transfer stuff, shopping, you name it. You can also lift this bottom off here, so you get more space inside of that area to store things, put things away if you want to hide it, or if you need more space, you can take this board completely out and store things in there. But that's pretty much everything that you get inside of that boot space. Over in the back, it feels very nice here as well. It's very comfortable. There's plenty of space on my knees with my sitting position as the driver in front of me right now. Plenty of space to tuck in my feet as well, which is really good. This is flat flooring almost, so which means you can sit someone in the middle as well. We have two USB-C ports on the back. Unfortunately, there's no armrest, but it is a 60-40 split to allow you to fold the seats down, so you get 1,600 litres of boot space overall. I think generally it feels nice here. The material is nice and comfortable. The knees aren't raised too high. You've got plenty of space to tuck in your feet in case you want to adjust your knee height, and you get pockets on the back of the seat here to also tuck in any document, phone, or whatever you want to put there. You can do that as well. Headroom is plenty as well. As you can see, I'm 5'11", and there's plenty of room for my head here, which is actually quite kind of amazing. It's a shame there's no panoramic sunroof here, because then we can just get even extra sense of space at the back here. But overall, really good in the back seat. Over in the front cabin, you have plenty of space, plenty of wiggle room for your feet, for your knees and stuff like that for long journeys, for when you're going to be driving. In front of us, we have two 10-inch displays. It supports Android Auto, Apple CarPlay as well. And you get some buttons here for your climate control. So a mixture of buttons and that touchscreen to control things like your infotainment, your map, and so on and so forth. In front of you, you have your instrument cluster, which is also digital, which allows you to see all the vital information that you need to see. There's no head-up display here. And in terms of the material in general, there's plenty of plasticky sort of cheaper feel in terms of the material. This is where you start to see some of this modest feel carry on in terms of the design of this car. In front of us, we have some control as well on the steering. You got the Griffin logo as well. But yeah, generally, I like the way that this is facing the driver. So it's very driver focused. So it's easy to reach for things if you need to change settings or move things around on that screen there. The sound system sounds okay as well. You can change the treble, the mid and the bass level to suit your preference, and loudness as well. But the material here is like this fabric material, but it's all about sustainability. So hence the kind of material that you're going to find inside of this car. I love this little strap here as well to secure things into place. You have 2 USB-C ports on the front. So 4 USB-C ports all together in here. You get wireless charging here as well, which comes with this GS model. It's also cooled as well, so that way you don't overheat your smartphone whilst you're charging. You got your transmission switch here as well. And there's also a C button for comfort, which usually you get a B mode in here, but the C mode is to reduce the level of recuperation to make it a lot more comfortable when you're driving. So the smoothness, you feel that when you're driving on the road. You got your electronic handbrake there, and then some space here as well to store things, and another space here to store things as well. So modest amount of space in here, so you can't complain really and truly, to be honest. But I think if you look at this front cabin overall, over time, this is going to age very quickly. So it's going to feel dated very quickly. That's the only qualms I've got with this front cabin. It's very somewhat just mute and boring. And I think they could have done a bit better, a bit more just to spice things up front here, to be honest. But apart from that, it looks fine. There's nothing wrong with it. For the price point that you're going to be paying for this, I don't think you're going to get any better than this, to be honest. And I think overall, it's all reasonably priced for this. And it's the same sort of starting price for the electric and the hybrid version, which I think they said is the first time they've ever done that, or that's ever been done, to have the same price level for both powertrains. So that's interesting. But yeah, let's get it on the road and see how this drives. For the powertrain, we have the Frontera electric, and there's also a hybrid version. There's also going to be a longer range version that's going to be coming out at some point in the future. So this has M2 Synchronous E motor. The electric version here has 83 kilowatts in terms of the maximum power, so 113 PS. It gives you 125 Newton meters of torque, single speed, and you have 44 kilowatt hour of usable battery. We talked about the charging already. It is 100 kilowatt DC charging. The maximum speed here is 87 miles per hour and 0 to 62 in 12.1 seconds. If you want something a bit faster, then you go for the hybrid, which gives you 9 seconds and a maximum speed of 118 miles per hour. The hybrid version also gives you more torque as well, so 230 Newton meters of torque. It is a 6-speed DCT and 21 kilowatt electric motors in there, so it adds that 28 PS onto it, and also 55 Newton meters of torque in terms of the electric part of that. But the output on the motor is 1,199 cc and 3-cylinder engine. Okay, now that we've got the numbers out of the way, let's talk about how this actually drives. Now you know the powertrain options, you know the trim level options, you know the 0 to 62 figures. Again, just to stress that all those numbers are very modest. I'm talking 87 miles per hour or so maximum speed. It's not a lot really, is it? And also the 0 to 62 numbers on this, it's not the most or the most powerful out there. But then again, this is not designed to be that car. This is a friendly family SUV that's not meant to give you too much fright. But done before though, there are some things that this actually does very well as well, and that is handling. So when I say handling, the steering is very precise. The steering ratio is very good as well. There are minimum body roll. You still get some body roll depending on what speed you're going at. Is it nimble? I wouldn't say so, but it's pretty agile and it can handle these corners very well, especially driving around this mountain area. It fills you with a lot of confidence when you just, twisting and turning. It goes exactly where you want it to go. You point it, it goes exactly there. And that's pretty good actually for this sort of price point, this level of car that they've got here. And I think they stress that as well because that's exactly what they're trying to achieve. They want something that feels comfortable on the road. They've tuned the suspensions and the steering has been, designed to be nice and direct. And that's exactly what this is all about here. It does exactly just that, which I kind of enjoy. I've been driving this around the mountains, this twisty, windy, bendy road, taking on the motorway as well. It's just as smooth as driving it anywhere else. And also, one thing to bear in mind is the roads here are very smooth and comfortable. So it's not going to be as comparable to what we get when we get this in the UK, but it kind of gives you some sort of experience what you can expect to a certain extent. There's a button here which is your comfort button, and with that on it means energy recuperation is reduced and is a lot smoother, so you get less jerk, which is not so aggressive anyway when you take your foot off the accelerator. So that's cool that they've added that there. Usually you get a B mode, which means you go into energy recuperation, but this one is reversed, so we take it out of energy recuperation or reduce it so it's a lot more comfortable. So let me summarize the driving experience for you. I think it's great. It's enjoyable. It's comfortable. It's nice and quiet in this cabin. The visibility is good. And those numbers in terms of power output, it's not the best out there. It's not a performance vehicle, but this will give you what you need to drive this around town, to get on the motor where you need to lug your family around in the car and kids and whatnot. Whatever you want to do, you got space to do exactly just that. Whether it's space for the driver up front, whether it's space for the passenger next to me, whether it's space for the people sat at the back, it's comfortable. You got plenty of ports, so USB-C for people to plug their stuff in at the back. For me, in the front as well. I'm a passenger. The screen is big enough, nice and visible. You can easily operate things without stretching too far. And you get Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and 100 DC kilowatt charging. I think that's decent as well. So I'll go back to that keyword I said at the start, which is modest. Everything is just nicely balanced and modest. So that way, the price point, I think this is just over £23,000 or so starting. Again, don't quote me because I leave all numbers on the screen. But I remember this being really reasonably priced. It's not expensive, it's affordable. Handling is really good thanks to that low center of gravity, the direct steering, which is good as well. The turning ratio, not so good as well. I think I was struggling to do 360 turns and trying to get out tiny spaces around here. But handling is really good, especially when you get to those situations where you have to quickly flick the car to move out the way for stuff, especially around this mountain here where you might just get a random lorry come around the corner out of nowhere. It just handles those flick very quickly. It's just so direct and responsive, and I like that. Newton meters of torque, all that stuff, like I said, it's not a performance vehicle, so I wouldn't stress myself about all that kind of stuff. But yeah, overall, I think it gets a thumbs up from me, and I hope you've watched the whole video because you will see you get little nuggets here and there of the tiny little bits that I think they should have changed or added to the car. But overall, really good vehicle. I think for the price that you pay for it, you get what you pay for. Over to you though. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have any questions, as always, drop them there as well. I'll do my best to answer your questions. And I hope you've enjoyed the video. And if you have, make sure you subscribe and share with other people as well. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.